contexts. So let me start with slide number 1. Actually, the guiding questions was very helpful, and we've structured our presentation with the help of those guiding questions. So guiding question number 1, we've had a discussion of what are teachers' most needed competencies, and here are our results. In the first place, we think that all of us need administrative skills to manage content, manage people, manage our students, and manage relationships between them, and also manage relationships with other colleagues and university staff. The next one is feedback skills, because as you've mentioned already and previous group mentioned also, feedback is one of the most important parts of our profession. Also digital competencies is quite important for us. And there was an excellent idea from our team member, from our colleague, that netiquette should be included in these competencies and knowledge of the netiquette, and especially in the context of modern technological tools, because our students are raised in the technology. Okay, so we should know as much as possible about the trends in communication, etc., etc. Next, I would like to share about what have we done for improving these skills. We've all of us, with help of our universities, done retraining, and actually I'm a good example of this because I'm trainee of the participant of TOT1 program. So I'm happy to be here also. Next thing is I would like to emphasize points that we are already transforming all the time to adapt to the new digital environment and to the new context. Okay, so we are trying very hard, and for some of us it's a hard process. And we are constantly translating and enhancing our classroom content to the new environments. Next, we've discussed the competencies our learners need, and those are, in the first place, data literacy, and by that we mean that our students have problems with searching, finding, and evaluating the trustworthiness of information online. And we think also that fast adaptability is one of the most important competences they should acquire, and they should elaborate more listening and collaborative skills. And one more important topic is academic integrity skills. We were not sure whether it's a skill, but by that we mean that students should be able to detect and avoid plagiarism. Last but not least, we thought that effective presentation skills are needed for our learners. Next question was about our efforts. What did we do to guide our students to improve those competencies? As our colleagues mentioned, we try always to share our knowledge among ourselves, and we try to promote knowledge sharing among themselves. And we've organized extracurricular activities, guest lecturers from top technology industry, and we've actively advocated for establishing student support units in our universities. As for the slide number 2, here the first question is, how did we adapt our assessment procedures in our courses? And the answer is that we've integrated modern tools into our courses, and you can see in the parentheses that there was a wide variety of those tools, And we've tried at least empower our students to use self-assessment techniques. For example, we've provided them with self-assessment questionnaires and online tools. And the next one is an excellent idea from my colleague that I'm going to implement in my courses. And I think it's part of the formative positive assessment, positive feedback. By this, we mean that integration of emojis, reactions as a tool for positive feedback is an excellent idea, because this is the language our students speak, and this is the language they understand. And as I mentioned already, we've tried to promote peer feedback and knowledge sharing and among our students. Has our students had the possibility to provide input in the assessment? Yes, of course. I think it's a situation in all our participants' universities. It's a standard procedure that is enforced by our universities, and we are also actively educating for students to participate. And another excellent idea from my colleague was that students are co-authors of our courses, because they are actively engaged in the course development processes. And the last guiding question was whether or not we are aware of 660-degree assessment technique. I personally don't know 180-degree assessment technique, but I'm familiar with 360-degree assessment technique, and we're doing it after every class, and this was joint declaration from our colleagues. So all of our colleagues are doing this kind of assessment technique. And the last slide was about how to proceed to distribute knowledge and skills. And the first guiding question was whether or not we were able to introduce new computer support and teaching methods. And the answer here was also from all of us, because our universities helped us a lot to implement computer supported teaching methods. So there was all organizational wide effort in the pandemic period to try and help us in integrating modern technologies, etc., and providing trainings for us. We have groups in our universities that are helping others. For example, I am part of the modern social media help group, where our colleagues who have no experience in social media transforms are asking questions and asking for help, and me or my other colleagues are always ready to provide assistance. And also we have internal training courses for our colleagues, and I think it's great that universities are interested in internal development. And of course, in the scope of this PRINTeL project, we have lots of contact and learning moments, because as I mentioned already, I'm participant of, I was trainee of your trainee, of this project's trainee. The next one was about consulting with university management about the introduction of different computer-aided teaching methods, and our team we were having discussion, and our answer is that this is continuous process, permanent process in our universities. And of course, we are always advising our university management that they should prioritize digital competency among academic staff. And at the last of my presentation, it was the question about educational vision and strategy. And the answer is pretty clear. It's open and transparent process. I mean, university strategic development process. Otherwise, it makes no sense. And we're all actively participating in this process. So I hope that I managed to present my colleagues' views, and I'm ready for your questions. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, Saba. And like Arusha already mentioned in the chat, this was a very detailed presentation, and thank you for answering all the questions, guiding questions we had in mind. So I think that yeah, this is a good summary of what you have been talking about, I guess. But maybe I can first open the floor to the rest of the group and see if there is any questions or comments. By the way, people are already sort of practicing what you mentioned in one of your slides, Saba, giving the positive feedback with emojis
Yes.
and with giving extra information in the chat. I think this is probably one of the major messages that people will take away from this training, that indeed, in an online environment, it's possible with emojis, but also with in the chat function to react and give comments. So I'm glad to see that happening. Okay, was there anything else that people would like to react on? If not, I can just give some ideas that I will take away from your presentation. I very much liked in your first slide the emphasis you put on netiquette as one of the digital competences that you think are important, how to behave on the internet, and so on. I think that yeah, I like that. I also liked that was not just in your first slide, but you also mentioned that a couple of times in other slides. The fact of training is important, training and retraining, making sure that you are updated, that your skills are updated, that you learn new things. It's a bit lifelong learning, both as a teacher, you need to do that, but also the students need to do this. On your slide 2, I very much liked also the fact, I'm just highlighting a couple of things. There is many more things that you mentioned, but here, what I very much like here is the role of the students as co-creators, or you mentioned co-authors of the courses. I think that this is also a very important message that you could take away, and that is students are important actors in the learning process. They are the ones that are learning, but they are experiencing all what you ask from them. But at the same time, if you listen carefully to what they are doing, if you try to involve them, engage them, they can really contribute to improve the teaching and learning process. So they are actual partners in the process, and so let them become co-creators and co-authors. I very much like that idea. And then in the very last slide, yeah, I'm happy to see that PRINTeL is also playing a role in what's happening at the university. I see a lot of things that are already happening in your university, so congratulations with that. Just continue the good work, and even if PRINTeL is finishing in a couple of months from now, keep on going with what you mentioned, helping peers, groups, learning communities is sometimes the word that is used there. I think that this is very important as well. Build that community feeling amongst the teachers as a starting point for further improvements on the teaching and learning. Okay, that were the things that I think that are important to mention here.
Thanks for feedback.
Can I add some comments?
Sure, yeah.
Concerning the continuous cooperation with university management, I think it's important that this training and retraining of teachers should be part of your teacher training department, if there is, or if there is a university's innovation center. I think that educational innovation definitely has to find its place. Your good correlation with the university strategy, I think, will allow that would be structurally integrated in those centers for innovation.
Good point. Okay. I think we can agree that also group number 2 did a great job. Shall we then move to group number 3?